So this is part 2 of my financial literacy tips, the wisdom that I've learned through experience over the years. And man, I'm like, more people need to know this. You know, I grew up with, like many people, I grew up with very little financial education, especially financial education that is not taught to us in the mainstream. Ways to leverage our dollars and to make more money and to save more money, etc., etc. And so this video is about RESPs for children. When I left my first marriage, I was fortunate in that I was part of a counseling group. We were getting counseling. It was for me and my children. And this company came along and they were handing out brochures to make sure that every parent signed up for RESPs with the Canadian government. And it's totally optional. One thing I really appreciate is how much they drilled into us that the younger you start, the better. So it made sense, you know, when I looked into it, because every year that passes that you don't get an RESP for your children, you're missing out. Basically, you're leaving money on the table, because every year the government is putting in money for your children. So the years that go by, there is no retroactive payment. They're not going to pay you for the years that you missed. So it's so crucial for parents to sign up for this. It's basically signing up for free money for your children. And when I started, I was like, I didn't have a lot to put in. I actually didn't really have full faith in, like, you know, it made sense for me, but I'm like, it's not something where I'm gonna say, okay, here's 10 grand, like let's put 10 grand towards an RESP and dump in $1,000 every month. I wasn't at that level of faith with, you know, how this program ran, but it made sense to me. So I'm like, okay, let's try this. I started with $30 or $35 a month for my 3 children, which is not a lot every month. That was doable for me, and I know it's doable for a lot of people. And I think I started with a lump sum of like $3 grand, or no, it was more like $3,600. $3,600 is like a bulk amount that I put in, and then $30 every month from there. So that was in that was about 2012. No. Yeah, I think I started around 2012, 2013. And then I transferred to a new company that dealt with my investments. So now I can see. So now it's 2020. And I just checked my statements the other day from 2016 when I transferred my funds to a new company. So I took that $3,600, put it in this new company, did the $30 a month. And then I bumped it up to $75 a month, which I'm still doing. So $75 for 3 children a month, still very doable, even though it's more than double what I was originally paying. So to my surprise, I was like, okay, in 2014, I put in $3,600. Then I was paying $30 every month for 3 kids. And then I raised it to $75 every month. And now I just checked literally 3 days ago, and it said it was worth 21 grand. So I'm like, wow. So I know a lot of it is my money that I'm putting towards it, but I didn't even feel it. It didn't feel like think about that, $3,600 in 2016 to now 2020, and I have 21 grand in there. So that's me putting my money largely, and then there's the government adding money in. That's the free money I was talking about. And then there's the growth. So my portfolio that I chose, I'm in a moderate, safe-ish, moderate type of investment. And I believe it's a mutual fund. Yeah, it's a mutual fund that I'm in. I can choose a more aggressive fund. However, there's more risk if you're willing to do that. And because my kids now one is 18 years old, she's taking a year gap, and then my son is 16, so he has a couple of years. So I've been advised that it's not the best necessarily, or just something more to consider. If I do choose to go aggressive and it does lose money, it's going to take more than a year or 2 to gain that money back. So I'm probably going to just stick to what I'm doing, $75 a month. But honestly, I'm like, $3,600 just 4 years ago to 21 grand. I told Michael, my husband, who's a financial advisor, I was like, are you freaking kidding me? I'm like, why don't more parents do this? And he said, I think he said something like a 60-40 mix where 40% of, or no, 60% of parents are doing it and 40% aren't, or vice versa. So then that's still a high percentage of parents that are not doing this and leaving money on the table. And especially if you have, like, regardless, if your children are 18 and under, do this, or 17 and under, do this. But if you're a parent of kids who are young, I'm telling you, every single year that's going by and you're not in an RESP plan, you are literally leaving money on the table. Because the government's like, okay, well, I know you have children, but we're not going to give you this money this year because you're not set up for it. And literally, it costs you nothing to set up, and you choose what you put in every month, whatever you feel comfortable with. So there you go. Please do it. I mean, I think it's a little nutty not to. So if this helps you, amazing. Please